Right now, new video capturing the moment a 13-year-old confesses to stabbing his mother to death as his newborn baby sister lies inches
One
away
night,
from it all.
13-year-old Derek Rosa decided he would get up, grab a kitchen knife, and end his mother's life. Then he sent this picture to a friend. He seemed proud of what he did, but was he aware of the gravity of the crime and what on earth made him do it? The shocking news of his arrest and crime opened up a long discussion about teenage killers and the appropriate punishments for them. No two cases are the same, and in Derek's case, we have more than a few questions left unanswered. This is the full story of Derek Rosa and all the updates on the still-fresh case. 39-year-old Irina Garcia had just given birth to a daughter. Everyone was happy for her. She was already a devoted mom, and now she had a new soul to take care of. But just 2 weeks after having her daughter on October 12, 2023, the emergency services in Miami, Florida, were called to her house. Her 13-year-old son, Derek R. Rosa, had made the call. He had just unknifed his mother, he said, and he wanted to let the authorities know. He was having double thoughts.
I know if your mom is breathing.
She's dead, miss.
Okay, and what did you do then?
There's blood all over the floor.
I need to know, do you think we can help your mom?
Miss, I didn't want to. I didn't want to.
Where's the gun right now?
It's in the living room. I loaded it. I pulled back the slide, but I did not.
He thought he'd better let law enforcement know what had happened before he did all that. Then he had another question for the dispatcher.
Yes.
I took pictures and I told my friends about it. Was that bad?
You told who about it?
My friends.
Who did you send those pictures to?
My friend. I don't know his real name because he is an online basketball player with us.
Derek was on the phone with the dispatcher for 18 minutes, during which he confessed to sharing these unspeakable pictures with his online friend. This is one of the pictures. Honestly, how sick is this? Luckily, when the officers arrived at his address, he surrendered peacefully and confessed to his crime. Authorities also quickly found the weapon. A kitchen knife with a pink handle. But the officers were met with a scarring sight. Irina was found in her bed, lying in a red pool. A couple of feet away was her 14-day-old daughter in a crib. These were Irina and her baby daughter hours before Irina lost her life, and this was happening a few seconds before. In a heartbreaking twist, Irina had installed a camera in her room to keep an eye on her baby all the time. She never imagined the camera would record her tragic ending. In some cases, investigators work hard to catch a culprit or prove that they're guilty. This was not one of those cases. Derek Rosa had confessed. His DNA was all over the gruesome scene, and there was even video evidence of this horrific moment. But the million-dollar question was yet unanswered. Why had Derek taken his mother's life, and how could a 13-year-old do such a heinous thing, let alone send pictures of it to his friend?
Mother? Alright, what type of knife was it, do you know?
It was just a big size kitchen knife.
That big?
Yeah.
What color was the handle?
Purple.
Purple?
Yes.
Okay. Your mom was sleeping?
Yeah, she was sleeping.
Derek's stepfather was out of town that day, as he worked as a truck driver. When he returned, his whole life had been turned upside down. He was a single dad to a baby who will have no recollection of her mother, and his stepson, whom he loved and treated as his own son, had taken away the person he loved most. He was not only shocked at what had happened, but in disbelief that Derek could have done this. When the detective spoke to him and the extended family, no one saw Derek as a troubled teen. He was an honored student, had no history of mental health issues, and was kind and polite to his friends and family. Eddie Rodriguez, the Hella police spokesman, said, "This is heartbreaking. I never would have imagined something like this, a 13-year-old child taking his mother's life. It's a very sad story." When he was asked about the motive, he confessed that law enforcement was still trying to figure that one out. Irina's friend Andina set up a GoFundMe page for Irina's funeral. She wrote about her friend. "I was lucky enough to know Irina for a year since moving to our apartment. She was a person that I can only describe as beautiful, both inside and out. She was always so warm and kind. From all accounts, Irina was just as warm and kind to her son Derek." It's unclear when his biological dad stepped out of the picture or when Irina remarried Derek's stepfather. It's also unclear what relationship Derek had with his stepfather and if he still maintained contact with his biological father. Whichever the case, his decision to take his mother's life seemed sudden, senseless, and very difficult to explain. Several forensic experts weighed in on their thoughts on the matter. Forensic psychiatrist Dr. Daniel Bobber emphasized how childlike Derek actually is.
Really tragic, as you said, but he sounded like a child on the 911 call because he is a child. and his brain doesn't have the same hardware as an adult. If you break the brain up into two systems, we have what's called social emotional control, which actually develops much quicker than what we call cognitive control. So if you think of social emotional control as the gas, think of cognitive control as the brakes. So in a child that age, you have the gas without the brakes. And this means that you have a child's brain that's unable to weigh the future consequences of its actions.
Simply put, Derek might not realize the gravity of the situation, or, if he did, by now, it's too late. Still, it's easy to imagine that there must have been some unaddressed mental issues if Derek found it that inconsequential to unalive his own mother. According to Dr. Daniel Bobber, motives can be many, and they don't have to pertain to mental health necessarily. Dr. Boer is talking from experience. Sadly, there are many teens who respond disproportionately to their parents limiting their freedom. However, not all teens who kill are reacting to extreme environments. When 16-year-old Sean Sears decided to unalive his parents, he was frustrated over his mother trying to separate him from a girlfriend she considered a bad influence. But Johann had been obsessed with Satan and the occult for years. During his parents' frequent absences from the house, he found solace in a strange book of symbols and rituals. And when the cult movie The Omen came out, Sean identified with the protagonist, a little apparently powerless boy who could harness the power of Satan and destroy his family. Sean was treated just like an adult, and when he confessed to a third murder he'd committed back in 1985, he was seen as an evil monster who had to die. He was sentenced to death and executed in 1999. From prison, he gave interviews and expressed his remorse and shock at how the cult controlled his life. But it was too late to change his fate. Despite all the talk of Derek's age, he was moved from a juvenile detention center to the Metro West Detention Center, an adult prison, after pleading not guilty. It was decided that he would stand trial as an adult. While ultimately nothing was decided today, the judge in this case did agree to hold another hearing on this matter later this week. Derek Rosa looked calm and composed before the judge. One might even argue that he didn't really understand all that was going on around him. His defense team said one thing, the prosecution said another, and the judge said, "Okay, we'll discuss things again in a few days." Surely, though, he understood what he had done when the prosecution showed the judge pictures of the bloody knife he left on the table after taking his mother's life. His family stood there in tears, Derek's biological dad included, but Derek didn't shed a tear. Psychiatrists and criminologists have yet to uncover why an honor student who left good first impressions everywhere he went could so suddenly and callously take his mother's life.
You woke up?
Yes.
Did you say anything else to her, or did she say anything to you, or no?
No, she just...
You were about to tell me the why. Why did you kill your mother? Do you know?
I have to say it now.
Yeah, get it off your chest. Absolutely.
I can only forever weird.
Rosa.
As the wheels of justice move slowly, it will probably be a long time before a verdict is reached. It will be interesting to learn why Derek made such a terrible decision and what was the spark that triggered it.